to the Rambling Men's Sports Podcast. It's been a long time. James, I think there's some stuff we can talk about.
Not in my car, for once.
I know, we're not in your car for once. But yeah, I think there's a few things we need to talk about.
Absolutely, I agree. There's definitely some commentary needed for some things, and we've had some some free agency moves and stuff. So we shall see.
Absolutely. So first things first, sports are canceled. Not canceled, but on a hiatus. No hockey, no basketball, no NASCAR, no golf, no... I'm trying to think of anything else. Basically, everything's in a hiatus, except for bowling, I think. No
Really?
March Madness. I think bowling's still playing, but March Madness canceled. Spring athletics for college athletics is canceled. Everything in college athletics is canceled. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, I mean, on a personal note, I'm disgusted because I was supposed to go to Vegas this weekend.
Oh yeah.
For March Madness. That's not happening, obviously.
That is something I've always wanted to do, is go to Vegas for March Madness. I think that
it
would
was
be
going
really
to be
fun.
sweet, dude. We had it all booked and everything and got canceled. But, dude, I don't know. This is some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. I've never really seen, like, sports leagues just, like, stop like that. And the craziest thing about it is you would think if something like this happens that it's not indefinite. There's some sort of end date that we can all look towards to just keep us in good spirits. But it's like people have no idea. I mean, they legitimately might not start the baseball season until like July.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I pray that doesn't happen, and I don't think it is either. But dude, you never know.
I've heard for starters, New York City needs to get its act under control. And unless New York can figure it out, because that's like, I think I read today, like 95% of all coronavirus cases are in New York City or the state of New York. So as long as that's going to happen, I mean, you got the Yankees, you got the Mets, you got the Knicks and Islanders, all those different teams. They're not going to go there anytime soon. At least not for a few months. And I'm trying to think of the other sports. The Nets might be in the playoffs as of right now. I know the Knicks aren't, and I don't think either of the hockey teams are. Maybe the Islanders, but they might just cancel the regular seasons and just go straight to the playoffs, which is more likely, I'd say, right now.
I hope they do that for basketball. But what I really hope happens, and I'm not even kidding with you, I hope that they just play a significantly shortened MLB season and they see how much more competitive and interesting every game is. I hope they go. They obviously won't, because it's money out of their pocket. If anything, they go up, they never go down. But a 100-game baseball season would be perfect. That's what they should do. They never will, because that's literally one-third of the game. Over one-third of the game's taken out. But, dude, it is just... Dude, watching a July baseball game, like 1 o'clock baseball game, is literally more boring than watching paint dry. They just don't care.
I like it because it gives you something to do, you know?
I mean, it's sports. You're right. I mean, I'd rather watch that than anything else. But early season baseball and late season baseball are actually very interesting. I mean, I love baseball. I used to back in my younger days. But like, dude, that mid-season, same thing for MLB. You could say the exact same, or not the MLB, the NBA. Mid-season basketball on a Tuesday night, watching like the Suns and the Nuggets play is just brutal, dude. They don't.
Yeah,
care.
I don't. In the NBA, it's just so top-heavy right now. There's only about maybe 8 to 10 teams that really matter.
Yeah.
The other teams are diluting themselves. And it's honestly the same with baseball, but I do find baseball much more interesting than basketball. I got a question for you. Do you think that if Rudy Gobert doesn't fuck up the NBA, do you think there's still sports being played right now?
No. Because people are going to get it at some point anyway, because obviously the how contagious it is. I just think Rudy Gobert honestly is going to be the meat shield for it now.
No one is defending him.
No, I was going to say, honestly, he deserves it because of how much of an asshole he was acting by touch. Because that's the last thing we talked about. I remember it. That's the last thing that me and you talked. Or no, it might have been through text, not on.
I think we were definitely texting about it.
We were just talking about how, like, dude, he was touching all the microphones and touching Donovan Mitchell's head and all this stuff, just like making him a joke of it. And he ended up having it, and he easily transmitted it to other people. I mean, I doubt he was like the sole, catalyst for getting COVID-19 into the NBA, but I know for a fact he was one of them. So, like, I don't know. I don't feel bad for him at all, just how irresponsible he was acting.
What are your thoughts so far on the no sports life?
I mean, dude, I've been just trying to, like, work and try to not have, my paychecks dip because of this crazy shit that's going on. So like, I haven't been worried about it too much. Plus, this is draft season for me. This isn't, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thank God the NFL offseason.
I legitimately don't care
going on.
about sports in March and April besides the draft and the combine. That's all I'm really focused on.
So you don't care about March Madness?
I care about March Madness. You're right. But I'm talking about, like, as far as... Actually, the NHL is down in the stretch, so, like, I don't really watch...
The NHL, before this whole thing happened, I think the NHL had less than 20 games left.
Yeah, so they didn't have much. I mean, the NBA was semi-close, but not really. I don't know. This time of year just isn't super important to me outside of the draft, because I think the draft... My favorite sport is... my favorite league to watch is the NFL. My second favorite thing to watch is the NFL draft, and then it's the NBA, to be honest with you. That's my number 2. Like, I could almost classify that as its own sport. I love draft season so much.
Like, I mean, it all happened. I mean, it was seriously, like, I wrote about this in my blog. It was seriously like this ending scene in Infinity War after Thanos snaps, and you just see all these different characters that you love just vanish. You know, it started with the NBA, which I kind of shrugged. I said, that's not really a big deal to me. Then it was college basketball, which was a huge blow to me because that was not just on a hiatus, that was canceled. We're not going to get March Madness at all. Then it was hockey. Then it was baseball. It was literally like watching Black Panther die, Doctor Strange die, just back to back to back, and you walk out of the movie theater like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck do they do now? Except, unlike that movie, we're not left with half the sports. We're left with no sports.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy, and even besides that, it's like sports is what I like to do during the week, and then it's like you can't even really go hang out with people on the weekend, man. So it's just like sit around getting fat, just gaining weight, watching hella TV. Restarted Fargo season 1 last night.
Oh yeah, how's that?
Watch it if you haven't. It's amazing.
Well, this is plenty of time to catch up on shows.
It's like
True
Detective in the sense that each season is its own story, so you don't have to like sit there and watch 6 seasons of it. You should watch it, dude. It's amazing.
I've heard about it.
Billy Bob Thornton.
I love True Detective season 1. Not a fan of season 2. Season 3 was just okay. But yeah, I've heard of Fargo. I've heard our boys Mac and Dennis are in a season or an episode at one point.
They are. Mac is in Mac and Dennis. Yeah, dude.
Mac and Dennis. Okay, I thought it was Dennis. I wasn't sure about Mac.
Dennis has like a very big part in the show.
Okay.
Not like a very,
now I gotta watch it.
Not like a main character, but he's in it for a few episodes,
right?
Like, with significant parts. So, but dude, just watch it. It's
all. So, have you seen the movie Fargo?
No.
Okay, well,
which I heard's amazing too.
I would highly recommend that as well, because I've seen that movie. It's really good. It's I'm trying to think. Have you seen Big Lebowski? I haven't seen it, but it's the same people that made Big Lebowski and
fantastic movie.
Yeah, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which I've seen and I love. It's a movie kind of like those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's based off that movie, correct?
I couldn't tell you because I don't really know what.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to watch it. But
it's Billy Bob Thornton is like a serial killer in it. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
He just kills it. He kills the shit out of it. So
before we get too off topic, that is something I have been meaning to watch. Other than that, I got started with video games. Like I finished 2 video games that I'd bought and hadn't really played yet. Finished those. Started getting into Madden a little bit, and then got bored with that. Didn't know what else to do, so I just grabbed a book. Now I'm reading.
There you go. That's what you gotta do, dude. I hear you.
So any other COVID-19 news? I did see today, we're recording this on Tuesday, I did see today that the stock market went up by a considerable amount, and it's been 3 straight days of fatality rates going down. So I think we're getting over the hump. I think everyone's saying this is going until July. I think needs to rethink it. I'm not saying that it won't still be around, but I say give it another month. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that's the case. I mean, the sooner the better, just for everything to go back to normal.
Which sport do you think comes back first?
I think they'd all have to come back at the same time, because I think one would be really afraid to trigger, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, you're in close proximity in any stadium, and that's the problem.
I'm going to say baseball right now, because baseball needs it more than anybody.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, the Yankees run the league, and if New York is still in bad shape, there's no way they're going to start baseball back until the Yankees are in good shape. Then I would say hockey, because so far I think hockey is still in pretty good shape. I think it's most likely that the regular season is going to be they'll cancel it and just start immediately with the postseason.
Yeah.
But this would happen when my Boston Bruins are in first place in the entire league. It would happen.
Well, I mean, they still got a chance at the cup at some point. I doubt they're going to vacate the entire year.
I don't think so, but I said the same thing with basketball. But college, or March Madness, I should say. But I do understand the reasoning behind it. College has a little bit tighter window. You know, new athletic year starts July 1st. You know, classes start in August. I could understand it, but I still think it's dumb. So you got anything else, or should we just go to the NFL?
NFL, baby.
All right, let's go to the NFL. Big news right off the bat. Tom Brady heading to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You are the Brady guy on this podcast. What do you think?
I mean, I actually think it was a really good fit, and honestly, the one reason I would say he shouldn't have went there is the rest of the division. I can't really find a huge flaw on that team. I think they have some talented pieces on defense. I mean, if they can have a good defensive draft, they should be okay. They need to get a nice offensive lineman in this draft. They have to, because they don't have a great offensive line, but I think that they can. Brady is a get it the hell out guy anyway. He's not going to take a bunch of sacks really ever, just based on the way he plays football at this age. Dude, I think they're going to win like 11 games.
I think so too. I mean, they won 7 last year, and they had an average defense and an average offensive line, and an below average quarterback
with many turnovers. And I just think that, I mean, I think Bruce Arians would be one out of like maybe 5 or 6 head coaches in the whole league that Tom Brady would even respect. So like, I think it's just a really good marriage. I think there's really low expectations there if he does end up just, holy shit, Tom Brady's about to be 44 years old and he's not that good anymore. Like, I think that that's a legitimate thing that could happen. I don't see it happening, but I think if it happened down there, nobody would care as much as if he went to, Dallas. I know people were talking about maybe Dallas, and that's why I didn't think that would happen, but just based on the tools there that he would have had and things like that, and, places like there and when Peyton went to Denver, like that's a place that has high expectations. Like they have Super Bowl expectations. So I think it was a great fit all the way around. I think he has guys that he can a guy he can toss it up to in Mike Evans, and a guy he can just literally underhand toss it to Chris Godwin.
I mean those two guys. I mean that's probably the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Chris Godwin's Delaware boy.
What's that? Godwin's from Delaware?
There
you go.
Yeah,
I think they have a promising. What's that?
He's public school too. It's not like you went to one of those prep schools.
But what I was going to say was they have I think a promising running back in Ronald Jones III. He put up decent numbers last year. The offensive line has got to be fixed. I think you can bank on they're going to take an offensive lineman in the first round or trade back, pick up more picks, and get someone else in the later rounds, and then just address the secondary, because that's their biggest weaknesses right now. O-line and secondary. Their rush defense was actually, I think, one of the best in the league last year. So I think though they could be okay defensively. But yeah, they got to fix up the offensive line if they're going to have a chance, because right now they don't have a guy that they can necessarily dink and dunk to like Julian Edelman.
Exactly.
But there's still free agency going on. I'm sure they'll probably sign someone that can do that. I know that there's, Robbie Anderson got picked up today by the Carolina Panthers. So that one's out. But I'm sure there's some guys
by that contract, by the way.
How much was that? I didn't see it.
It was 2 years, $10 million. Or 2 years, $20
Why didn't Green Bay do that?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, Philly would have easily taken him for $10 million a year.
He must be a head case or something.
They were talking about him commanding like 13, 14 just because the market was shitty and stuff. So I was like, that's surprising. I'm kind of pissed.
I don't know. Maybe he's got baggage, but they do have 2 solid options, I think, at tight end. I think O.J. Howard's really underrated, and Cameron Brate's a decent option next to him. So he's got space across the field. They will need someone to, that he can dink and dunk to outside of the running back. I think
I want to say something else too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know this because I wouldn't say I'm super familiar with their line, but I think a lot of an O-line can be judged, based on what the player's doing behind them. You just see they let up this many sacks, and Jameis is back there holding. Carson holds the ball a lot, so I don't put a lot of sacks on. Jameis holds the ball. So how bad are they? Do we really know with Jameis Winston playing quarterback? I know he has arm talent, but he is about as dumb as a box of rocks. I mean, who throws 30 picks?
Dude threw 30 picks. I mean,
That's
30
insane.
picks. I did that in Madden. I didn't throw 30, but I threw about 26 one time in Madden. But I made up for it with about 50 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he had a great year besides the picks, but it's just like, dude, if you threw even 15 picks, which is still a lot, dude, you guys, they would have won 10 or 11 games last year.
I think that they're primed to at least get 10 wins. I mean, you look at that division. I know I think you said you're high on the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons are that good anymore. Panthers are going through a major rebuild. The Saints, look, I think the Saints are talented, but they have 2 playoff wins in their best window probably ever. So I'm not really buying into the Saints right now either. And they won't shut up off the field. They keep talking about how great they are, yet they're sitting at home. I know you'll like this. They're sitting at home on their ass in the postseason.
No, we've already talked about that. That's why I don't like Michael Thomas at all.
Oh, he won't shut up.
No.
But to New England, oh, by the way, I think that this is a really nice fit, and I think it's a good thing for both parties, even though it's going to be weird seeing him in a creamsicle jersey potentially. I think it was the best fit for him. It wasn't the Chargers. I don't know. The Chargers just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are kind of like the Bucs of the AFC, if you think about it.
They got weapons. But the difference is they don't have a coach that I necessarily trust. I don't think Anthony Lynn's a bad coach. I just don't really know how good he really is. Bruce Arians, I know, is really good.
That's the way I put it. I think he's actually a half-decent coach.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's Bruce Arians.
I agree. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, never mind. I thought I got an update on my phone about something else. As for New England, where do you think they go from here? Do they take a quarterback round 1?
If they don't get Cam Newton.
That's true. Cam Newton was just released today.
Which I think is dude, Cam Newton went up to New England like 2 years ago and beat him. I'm telling you, Belichick is...
I think that's a legitimate possibility.
I do too.
I don't know...
Because then they don't have to go QB first round this year. Yeah. They can take one late, see if he's any good, and then, ride with Cam for 2 years and then get one.
And it also says, or seems like, Belichick's also really high on Jarrett Stidham. Who knows? I'm not that high on Jarrett Stidham, but if Belichick likes him, he must be decent. So then you get Newton, Stidham. They're probably going to draft someone 3rd, 4th, 5th round somewhere in there. Then you got a decent quarterback room. Without despite losing the greatest of all time, as people like to say.
Yep.
Where do you think this sets them back, though? Do you think that they're still top dog in the AFC East? That's tougher for me.
No.
I don't know. It depends. If they get Cam Newton, I say yes.
Dude, I'm not even saying they can't get somebody in there that's pretty good, but, they actually don't have a good roster right now.
I know.
They legitimately don't. And it's like, dude, if you don't have Tom Brady sort of being the glue that holds together, it's kind of like a patchwork team right now. Dude, they have Bill Belichick, so I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10 games, but I'd say that's their ceiling. I don't see them winning any more than 10 games.
So I would assume you're going to pick right now you're going to pick the Buffalo Bills to win that division?
Yes.
I would too.
They got some.
I'm not sure I trust Josh Allen or Buffalo, but I do like Sean McDermott.
I know. We'll see.
But they did just get Stephon Diggs. We can talk about that.
That's who it is. I was going to say, they just got somebody pretty good in the
Stephon
draft.
Diggs. Gave up a first-round pick for him. So this is going to be kind of my next point, although I know there's been a lot of other moves, and I don't have anything printed out, so we're just kind of going through the motions right now. But the NFC North, I'm not sure there's a division so far that has regressed more than the NFC North. And I say this about Green Bay, too. I think Green Bay's regressed. But Minnesota has lost Linval Joseph, Mackenzie Alexander, Xavier Rhodes,
Diggs.
Everson Griffin, Stephon Diggs, at least those 5.
Did they lose Anthony Barr?
No, he's still there.
No. Okay.
While also extending Kirk Cousins, and his cap hit in 2022 is going to be about $40 million. So I'm laughing my ass off.
I've also gotten some good news from a division rival in the last 2 days.
Is that Dallas?
Travis Frederick, baby, retired.
Travis Frederick retired, and they lost Byron Jones.
Eagles pick up a top defensive tackle, and they lose the guy that blocks them. I love
Who's the defensive tackle?
Javon Hargrave from
Steelers. Yeah, that's right. That's a very good move.
Fletcher Cox, obviously.
Very good move. They're very good defensive. Good D-line keeps getting deeper, man. But back to my NFC North. All those losses the Vikings have had. The Bears have lost some quality players while also trading for Nick Foles. If anything, I'd say that's probably the team that stayed the same.
Yeah. No, I think they got worse because they just lost Akeem Hicks.
Did they? I didn't see that.
Or who? Leonard Floyd.
Leonard Floyd, yeah.
Leonard Floyd.
But they signed Robert Quinn, so that kind of evens out.
I mean, maybe. He had a good year last year.
He did. I didn't even know how good of a year he had. I was laughing until I saw he had 11 sacks last year. Then the Lions lost Darius Slay, All-Pro, I think All-Pro corner, definitely a Pro Bowler, to your Philadelphia Eagles. Very good pickup.
Very good move.
And they let Rick Wagner go, their starting right tackle, went to Green Bay. Who knows how that's going to work out. But Green Bay has let Blake Martinez walk and Brian Bulaga walk. Brian Bulaga hurts. I know Martinez, I don't really care, but Bulaga hurts. Pick up Ricky Wagner, who about the same player when healthy. Problem is he wasn't that healthy last year, I don't think. And they signed Christian Kirksey. Good move when healthy. Problem is he hasn't been healthy the last 2 years. So, two cheap moves. I don't think they've really regressed that much, but they've definitely regressed.
I don't think they have.
And I still think they're the top dog in the division.
I do too.
The other surprising move, we'll go to your NFC East. You started talking about that. The Giants have got some decent players, I think. Kind of overspended for some, though.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the Giants need to... I do think they picked up some decent players, but I don't think it's going to be talent that equals wins, if that makes sense. I just... They're not... They always go for... I don't even know how to explain it. Dave Gettleman is just a terrible GM. He doesn't build the team that the way he's supposed to build, like taking Saquon number 2 overall and, signing Alec Ogletree to a big contract last year.
Who they just released, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and James Bradbury's like a good corner, but they
James Bradbury's a solid corner, but I'm not sure how much they even paid for him.
But it's just, I don't know, man. I just feel like the things that they're doing are just keeping them good enough to not get really good draft picks, but not, they're basically just hovering in the middle. And teams, honestly, at some point need to look at, because there's so many teams that do that. If you think about it, they're always in between like 5 and 9 wins every single year, and it's like, dude, it's harder to build a team like that. You might as well just go bad for a year or
well, look at Miami. I like what Miami has done.
Dude, Miami.
We'll see how they. I said the same thing about Cleveland. I love what Cleveland did a few years ago, just accumulating draft picks. It didn't work out. You got to do something with those picks, though. So, for the time being, I like what the Dolphins have done, but they got to do something with those picks, and who knows what they'll do.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I think they're a couple years away from being a really good team, though. If they grab Tua,
who knows? Tua, I don't know. Chatter has been he's not gonna. They're not gonna take him, but really? I think that's a smokescreen right now.
Yeah, I do too.
Washington was reportedly interested in Tua, but now they're not.
Washington's not going to take Tua. They just want somebody to trade for that pick.
1,000%, and that's evident this week because they traded for Kyle Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not going to take Tua. If they did, that's a great quarterback room, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to think of anything else. Obviously, the other big news is DeAndre Hopkins. James, what the hell is Bill O'Brien doing?
Dude, I don't even, listen, obviously Bill O'Brien is a completely inept GM, but, how does nobody else in the building say something?
How does the owner not say something?
Dude, I don't even care if I was an equipment manager. I would have been like, dude, you are a moron, and I would have took my firing because, dude, DeAndre Hopkins, when I heard that he was on the trade block, I'm sitting here in my head because I thought the Eagles would easily go after him. I'm like, dude, I'd give up, a first and a third for him. First and a second, I wouldn't even be mad.
And I'm not one to part with draft picks ever, but I would have given it up.
Exactly. But dude, second and a fourth?
Something like that. Definitely a second.
And a fifth for Slay.
And a running back.
And David Jones.
Or I'm sorry, they picked up a running back. That
means that they literally didn't shop him at all. They just took the first thing somebody said, and he just said, "Yeah, sure," because he doesn't like DeAndre Hopkins.
I genuinely don't know. Bob McNair is one of the top owners in the league. It's like Jerry Jones and, a few people down, probably Bob McNair. He can't be that dumb. I mean...
Dude, it makes no... It's like, dude...
Does he watch the field and just assume Bill O'Brien's making this team good? Because I'll tell you right now, it's Deshaun Watson.
Dude, you don't get rid of DeAndre Hopkins anyway. If somebody calls him, we'll give you 2 firsts, it's obviously everyone's up for...
James, I would have gotten rid of J.J. Watt before DeAndre Hopkins.
No,
And
dude,
I'm not familiar with Watt's contract at all. Maybe they would have owed him a ton of money,
dude.
but
I saw a stat earlier that said DeAndre Hopkins is the first player in NFL history to be first-team All-Pro 3 years in a row and not be on his same team the fourth year. Because you don't get rid of a player that's the best in the league at his position. You just don't. It's just stupid. Unless you're the Raiders and you get 2 first-round picks for Khalil Mack. It's like, dude, everyone, if you have to build a team, it's like, I get it, dude. Like, you need to get some picks, and sometimes you got to get rid of the icing on the cake, which is a wide receiver, a linebacker, shit like that. But, like, come on, dude.
I think when this trade broke, I originally said I can't find the logic behind it. Since then, I have kind of veered away from that to the point where I understand it because they do have to pay Deshaun Watson soon. Laremy Tunsil's a free agent next year, I believe. They're going to have to spend some money on those two guys. You got to have a good quarterback, got to have a good left tackle. They have 2 of them that are about to be free agents. So I get that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's, dude, first of all, I wouldn't have got rid of him, but it's like, dude,
right.
We're trading DeAndre Hopkins out of the AFC to, a team that just gave us a first and a third round draft pick. It's like, okay, I get that. Like, I wouldn't have got rid of him, but I get why.
Especially the Cardinals, who had a top 10 pick.
Exactly, dude.
I don't know why you're not asking for that.
Dude, how is that not the first thing you said? Be like, dude, give me your number 1 pick and you got it. Got it.
That's I don't have a huge issue with the trade. I wouldn't have gotten rid of him. There's ways to work around the cap.
Exactly.
But if you're that committed to, giving Watson and Tunsil paydays, I get it. But you got zero value from that. You got a running back who has been injury depleted the last few years, way out of his prime, but was a solid player. Who knows? He might have a little bit left in the tank. But you take on his contract that they signed him to, which was a big chunk of change. You don't get your value for for DeAndre Hopkins. I really don't get it. And here's the thing: no one can stop Bill O'Brien except the owner, and I'm not sure he's going to do it.
And dude, you know what else is even funnier? Like, they don't have first-round picks because
that's right. Houston doesn't even have a first this year.
So it's like, how do you not sit there and be like, dude, how can I recruit my first-round pick? I probably have 2 or 3 players on my whole team I could get a first for. I might have to do that right now. And it's like, okay, now I get it. It's like, dude, you didn't even recoup your first that you traded away? That's so stupid, dude. That makes no sense. No sense.
Like, I thought he made some decent moves last offseason, getting Laremy Tunsil, getting Kenny Stills, getting Duke Johnson, and the other one, Carlos Hyde, maybe.
Yeah, it was.
And didn't, for any of them except for Tunsil, didn't break the bank in terms of cap, or in terms of draft picks. Then he pulls this move, and like,
I just don't even think he's a good enough coach to be handed the keys to the whole franchise.
Exactly. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They won the division, but they're Andrew Luck away from not winning that division.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, man, I don't know, dude. They're turning back into the Texans of 10 years ago. I can tell you that.
No one's gonna stop him either, except Bob McNair, who's got the only power. And who knows if that's going to happen. I'm not familiar with Bill O'Brien's contract. Maybe he's got 1-2 years, and then he'll get rid of him. Who knows?
Dude, I think he's fired this year unless they win the division, which I think that could happen. I mean,
it could easily happen. I mean, Deshaun Watson's plenty capable of putting that team on his back, but they're the new Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, agreed.
They're just riding out. I mean,
they're just there. Yep.
They're the Indianapolis Colts. They're coasting off Deshaun Watson. They're not addressing the offensive line. They're getting rid of good players, whereas Seattle's the new Green Bay, where they're coasting off one guy, Russell Wilson, and they're not spending any money, and they have money to get him talent. So that's where we're at. The NFL landscape has now shifted.
Yep.
Who's the team to beat now? It's not New England. It's Kansas City.
Yep.
For the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Did you see their cap room right now?
Who? Kansas City?
Yeah.
They have a lot?
No.
Who are they paying? Chris Jones and Frank Clark?
Yeah, 2 of them. And they signed Tyreek Hill to a big contract.
Tyreek is getting paid.
But they had less than $1 million in cap room. They had $550,000.
And they have to pay Patrick Mahomes.
They got to pay. Now, granted, that wouldn't count against this. I don't think. I mean, they could probably work to where it doesn't count against this cap. But
that means next year they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to make some moves for sure.
So they're in trouble. However, we have talked about this. As long as they keep that trio of Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. I would say definitely those three. Keep, if you can, Chris Jones. They'll be fine.
Yeah, agreed.
Anything else happen? I can't think of anything.
Big? The Darius Slay trade was pretty big for me, but it wasn't that big in the grand scheme of things. A couple big players went some places.
Oh, I did see today Noah Syndergaard is going to have Tommy John, so that's just great for my Mets.
Dude, the Mets are done.
They got DeGrom, but yeah, without Syndergaard, they're in trouble.
Yeah. Damn, man. It's just no sports right now. It's just has my sports mind
I
out
was
of whack.
just about to say. I really
out of
don't
whack.
know. I miss sports. That's all I gotta say. I miss sports.
You and me both, man.
Did you see some of my Snapchats yesterday of me tossing my Thor hammer here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so bored.
We've come to this, dude.
What's that?
We've come to this.
It's not even that. It's all this Corona thing is also affecting movies. Like
Yeah.
Black Widow is now delayed. A movie I was very much looking forward to. I'm just.
I know, man. They're
I'm
not going to be
bummed.
able to do this. It's slowing down a lot of stuff. So, stay healthy, my friend.
Oh, I'm healthy. I do have to clean this desk though. There is some dust. No, but for real, like I've had this desk that is here right now since 2 years ago. I've only kept junk on it, and then now my work said, "Okay, you're getting a laptop. You're going to start working from home," and I had to clear all of it out. So there's dust everywhere.
Yep, that's my living room right now. I got dual monitors set up and shit. That's like literally my office out there right now. So trying to maintain here, man.
I mean, I got, unless you want something to talk about. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. And you just, I think we both mentioned something on social media about it. Let me find it here. Okay, so I got this alert. The NCAA stops Trevor Lawrence. Clemson quarterback's GoFundMe page to help COVID-19 relief shut down to comply with NCAA rules. Like,
Yeah. I literally tweeted NCAA is scum, dude. It's just like
I get where the NCAA is coming with this. You know, who's to say he doesn't just take that money for himself? But come on, I highly doubt that's what he's doing at this point. I don't know what you think.
I don't even know, man. I just feel like there's some greedy bastards, dude. Like,
Oh,
and I don't even
absolutely.
necessarily mean like just the full like. It's just like I don't even know, man. I can't even get into a whole NCAA talk because it's just like I think they're scummy. I don't think their best interest is in the athletes at all.
Do you think that they canceled the winter seasons and the spring seasons to show that we're concerned with the athletes, we're concerned with their safety?
I mean, who's to know what their real motives are? I would say, yeah, it's some of that. I mean, I don't think they're like evil, like completely evil people, but I do think they care more about their wallets than they do the welfare of the athletes. I think that's apparent now.
That's what I think, and then them canceling March Madness and everything
And what I'm
else.
going to tell you right now is, believe me, most of these companies didn't shut down because they're worried about people spreading the. They shut down because someone else shut down, and they can't be the only thing open. Like, it's not like the March Madness could have just stayed open while everything. Like, they knew they had to do it. And I do think, you know, like I said, I don't know the motives of it. I'm sure some of it had to do with safety, but most of it was to save face because they didn't really have a choice, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, once the NBA did its thing, it was a snowball effect. Now we're back on Corona, but
That's all there is to talk about.
I know. Literally, my friend texted me the other day and said, "I'm so sick of hearing about Corona," but it's literally all we have right now.
Yeah. It is.
I had a train of thought there. Now I lost it. But when this came out that the NCAA was canceling March Madness, my initial thought was they're only doing this to save face for the last few years of the reputation that they don't care about the athletes. They just want to make money. This shows, well, we don't care about the money. We're concerned with the student athletes, which I call
believe
bullshit.
me, if there was a 1% chance they would have been able to pull it off and do it and make that money, they would have. They just.
I don't
knew
see
they
the
couldn't.
big deal. They're allowing these people to travel. I don't see the big deal. Why not just play it in an empty arena?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I'd say
Not just them. Everyone's able to travel. Like NHL players, NBA players, they're all able to travel. Why aren't we playing games just in an empty arena? I don't know. That's me, though.
who knows, man?
Basketball I can get because there's one ball. Everyone's touching it with their hands. I can get that, and they've had like 10 players get it because the last few weeks, and the NBA in general is a petri dish because it's a small locker room.
Yep, it is.
That's just
and everyone's sweating and all that stuff, and guarding each other like skin to skin. Like that's really the only sport I can think of where there's a lot of skin to skin contact.
Like I'm not saying it would cancel or postpone or suspend football season, but it would have been different because both teams use different balls. They have several balls throughout the whole game. It's a larger locker room, different immune systems. That's just me.
You're outside.
Yeah, and you're outside.
Inside. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like I said, as long as this is clear, I don't give a damn if it affects my life all the way up to football. I just need it done.
And hockey doesn't even put their hands on the pucks. They're wearing gloves.
They're
they use
inside.
sticks. They're inside. Cold atmosphere. Bacteria can't live in cold.
You better call the commissioner.
I don't know. I'm just giving my opinion, man. I'm heartbroken.
Me too, man. Me too.
All right. I don't have anything else unless you want to talk.
Just want to wish Travis Frederick a great retirement. Thank you so much for retiring at 29.
Oh, so I know what I wanted to talk about. Or regarding that, I texted my boss last night because I'm in the news business, and Travis, I got the alert. Travis Frederick announced retirement, so I texted my boss and said, "Hey, do you want this in the paper? Pretty big name." And he said, "I don't even know who that is." And I was like, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. I know.
Yeah, he's one of the best offensive linemen in the whole NFL.
And he said, "Nah, I don't know who he is, so no one else is going to." And I was just like, "How do you not know who Travis Frederick is?" Granted, I know we're a different breed when it comes to NFL, knowing NFL rosters and stuff.
If you follow the NFL, it's not like we're talking about some just like random center. Like, dude, most people's names if they're a starter in the NFL. Like, if you said 90% of NFL starters' names, I'd be like, all right, I heard that before on SportsCenter or something. You know what I mean? So
I've been able to pride myself on being able to name the entire Green Bay 53-man roster.
Oh, I can do it for the Eagles every year.
Oh, I can too.
Easily.
Not the Eagles, but obviously Green Bay. But
yeah.
All right, my man. Unless you got something else, I'm gonna go.
I'm good, man. I gotta get back to work, unfortunately. But I'll talk to you later, brother.
Absolutely. See ya.
Later, man.